What farm animals transition from downy, fluffy balls of cuteness to feathered out, gaudy pullets? Of course, it's chickens. Raising hens from chicks can be time-consuming and a lot of work for the first 6 weeks of their lives. However, with age, chickens are easily managed animals with benefits. You can purchase your chickens from your local feed store, or you can purchase them from an online hatchery and have your chicks shipped to you. My children, husband, and I raise chicks ourselves. I buy my chicks from an online hatchery so I can get a variety of different hens. Generally speaking, at your local feed store, they only carry 1 or 2 breeds, so you're just limited to that. I receive my chicks when they're about a day or 2 old, and I raise them into laying egg hens. And in learning how to raise chicks into chickens, I will discuss the needed supplies, the required care, and the collecting of the eggs. So let's get started with chicken business, and let's look at the supplies that are required for your hens. Of course, you're going to need a chick brooder for chicks. You're going to need food and water feeders, and you're going to need a chicken coop for the chickens once they get old enough. So let's start and discuss what a chick brooder is. A chick brooder is just an area with a pine shaving flooring. You're going to have a brooder lamp with a red bulb, and it needs to be free from draft. And the first week of the chicks' lives, you're going to have the temperature ranging from 90 degrees Fahrenheit to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And then every week after that, you are going to decrease the temperature by 5 degrees for the next 5 weeks after. Let's move on into the chicken coop itself. For the chicken coop, you're going to need 2 square feet of ground room for your chickens. You're going to need 1 nest box for every 3 chickens. And the nest boxes need to be about 1 square foot. You need to have, according to Elizabeth Crease, author of Chick Raising 101, coop ventilation is more important than insulation. So you need to put holes at the top of your chicken coop for air to run through. You also want to put 1.5 inch dowels up in the upper part of your coop for your chickens to roost on at night. And then for food and water feeders, of course, for the chicks, you just need to make sure that you have a shallow water dish so that the chicks don't drown themselves. And for the hens, 1 water dish for every 6 to 8 hens, and a feed trough that is large enough to accommodate them all at once. So this here is a picture of the chicken coop at my house that my husband built. And these are pictures of the nest boxes. You want to put hay in their nest boxes because they like something soft to sit on, of course. And if the hay gets a little flat, you need to change it. So moving on, we're going to talk about the care that you will provide for your chicks. The first 6 weeks of the chicks' lives, you want to feed them a chick starter feed. And it's just the mash is grinded up very finely. And then after the 6 weeks, you're going to move them to a grower feed where the mash is just a little more, the flakes are bigger. You also need to include grit in their diet, which are just tiny pebbles that they eat. It helps them digest their food easier. They store the pebbles in their crop, and the pebbles just help grind up their food. Your chicks will eat grass, worms, insects. You can even feed them food scraps from your table. However, you don't want to feed them beans, garlic, onions, raw potatoes, or citrus, because then that's what your eggs will taste like. And this is our bird Freckles, and that's my daughter. We are feeding her a worm. The chickens love worms. It's actually one of their favorite treats. So moving along, we're going to talk about diseases and predators concerning your chickens. Well, the first one, pasting up, it's not necessarily a disease as more as it's a condition for them. It is where the chicks' droppings close up their vent hole and prevent any more droppings from passing. This can be a deadly condition for them, so to prevent this, you need to check your chicks' bottoms every 1 to 2 days, and if they're clogged up, then you need to just take a wet washcloth and just wipe their bottoms clean. The second, this here picking, it's a behavioral aspect than it is anything else, and it's just the chickens pecking each other's feathers. They will literally peck each other to death if you don't control the situation. And it can be caused by overcrowding, too bright of lights for too long on them, other stresses like kids picking them up, they don't, and they feel overwhelmed by it. So you also need to keep injured birds out of the cage and aggressive ones as well. Now, predators, you need to make the safest coop possible for your chickens. They need to feel safe and keep predators out. So you need to patch any holes that are in the coop. You can elevate your coop off the ground if you'd like, and then install lights, and that will also keep predators away from the coop. Now, moving along, we're going to talk about collecting eggs finally, getting a reward for all of your hard work and dedication that you've put into raising these chicks. They start laying eggs at 5 months of age. And when you hear your chickens crackling very loudly, it's a good sign that they're laying an egg. You want to collect your eggs every morning, and you want to just wipe the eggs off if at all possible. Eggshells have a natural coating that protects the eggs from bacteria. But if you have to use water, you want to use warm water, not cold, because the cold water shrinks the egg up inside the shell, and it leaves room for bacteria to invade it. You also want to store your eggs in a dated carton in a shelf in the refrigerator, and your eggs will keep good for about a month. So, and these are pictures of my chickens and my daughter. This is my daughter with freckles, and these are a few of them eating. And this one down here is Sweet Pea. She'll jump all over you, play with you. She's really great. Starting out in this business can be overwhelming, and doing everything at once can really take a hold of you. So give yourself a few months to get all your supplies and build your coop. In the process, read all the literature you can about raising chickens. Be as informed as you can about it. When raising chickens, you should find out what supplies are needed, the care that's required, and the procedure to collecting the eggs. Remember, you want to have as much contact as possible with your chickens. You want them to be friendly as a pet, especially if you have children. And always know that a happy chicken is a laying chicken.